Bruchim haboim, welcome everyone. We're about to begin Be'ezras Hashem together on Daf Chof Ches Amud Beis at the very top. Says our Gemara, Rav Avia cholosh v'lo asa lepirka de Rav Yosef. Rav Avia was not feeling well. He did not go to the drasha of Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef would give a drasha before Musaf on Shabbos, and he didn't attend the drasha. Ki also, l'mocha ki also, Boy Abaye la'anuche daited Rav Yosef. The next day, Abaye wanted to then calm down Rav Yosef and appease him. Omar lei, he said to him. Now Rav Yosef turns to Rav Avia. My time lo also mar lepirka. Why didn't you come to the drasha on Shabbos? Omar lei, dahava cholish liboy v'lo matzina. I had a weak heart and I wasn't able to come. Omalei, Rav Yosef challenged him. Amayloi taimus midi va'asis. Why didn't you eat something to give you some strength and then come and attend the drasha? Omalei loy sova lo mar lohod Rav Huna. Dom Rav Huna also loy lo adam sheyitam klum. Kodem sheis palot tfilas hamusofim. Rav Huna says that it's prohibited. It's also to eat anything before davening musaf. Omalei. Iboy leila mar litzlu itzlusa de musafin biyachid v'litoy midi v'lemesi. Then you should daven biyachidus, then ate something, and then come to the drasha. Omalei v'losav lomar lohodam v'yochanan. Also lo'adam sheyaktim tfilaso l'tfilas hatzibur. Rabbi Yochanan says a person cannot precede his own davening from the davening of the tzibur. Omalei lav itmar alo. Is it not stated on that? Omar Abba betzibur shanu. That halacha Rabbi Yochanan that you cannot daven before the tzibur, that means when you're together with the tzibur, the same Beis HaKnesset, the same Beis HaMedrash, and then you start earlier than the tzibur, your Shmona Esrei, that's prohibited. But to daven b'yechidus before the tzibur, that would be permissible. Says the Gemara, Hilchasa loy kerav Huna, v'lo Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. The halacha is not like nor Rabbi Rav Huna. It's not like Rav Huna. V'lo Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. Ki Rav Huna hu da Amaron, like we just said. Rabbi Huna said the halacha is that you cannot eat before Musaf. The halacha is not like him. You could eat before Musaf. And the halacha is also not like Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. The Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, he said, Kivan shehigia Zman tfilas hamincha also loy la'odam sheyitam klum kodem sheyispalo tfilas hamincha. Once the Zman of mincha comes, a person cannot even toyem food before davening mincha, and the halacha is not like Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi either. Now our Gemara brings a Mishnah, a new Mishnah. Until now we've been discussing davening the Zmanim at tfilos, and generally the makom, of course, of tefillah is in a Beis HaMedrash or Beis HaKnesses. If a person after davening goes to learn in a Beis HaMedrash, so he's going what's called Mechayel El Choyel, like the Gemara at the very end of the Masechet says, when a person davens and he goes up to learn the Beis HaMedrash, he's going to be Mekabel the Pnei HaShechina, as it says, he's going Mechayel El Choyel. Now our Mishnah discusses a tefillah when a person enters the Beis HaMedrash and ends his day of learning Torah in the Beis HaMedrash. Says the Mishnah, Rab Nechunyo ben Akano haya mispalel b'kniyaso lebeis hamedrash u'b'yitziasoi tefillah k'tzara. Rabbi Nechunyo ben Akano was accustomed to davening a short tefillah before, while entering the Beis HaMedrash, and when exiting, when leaving the Beis HaMedrash. Omru loy my makom tefillah zu. The Talmidim asked him, what is the essence, what is the nature of this tefillah? Omar lahem, he said to them, Biknisosi ani mispala shelo ye'ero dvar takola al yadi. When I enter the Beis HaMedrash before learning, I daven to Hashem that I shouldn't have a takola through me, a stumbling through me. Ubitziyosi ani noisein hoido al chelki. And when I leave the Beis HaMedrash at the end of the day, I thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu for giving me my chelik in Torah. So we see from here that there's a way of davening that a person should mevakesh and then give hoidah afterwards. And that's what we find in the Shmona Esrei as well. In the beginning we find that there's bakasha, right? In the beginning there's shvachim and then there's bakashos. At the end, afterwards, we give hoidah. Says our Gemara, bringing a brisa to expand on the Mishnah. Tanu Rabbanon, b'knisasoi mahu oimer. When a person enters the Beis HaMedrash, what does he say? Meaning, what is the tefillah? What is the nusach of his tefillah? Yehi ratzoi milfonecha Hashem Elokai, shelo ye'era dvar ta'kala al yodi, v'lo ekasha b'dvar halacha v'yismuchu b'chaveirai. He says that I shouldn't have something that is a stumbling block through me, causing other people to then stumble. And I should not also stumble in the halacha myself and cause others to then laugh, to be rejoicing in my failure. I shouldn't say something that which is tamei is tahor, and the opposite, that which is tahor, to be tamei. I don't want that my comrades, they should stumble and I should rejoice in their stumbling. Chalila. What does he say in the tefillah when he leaves the Beis HaMedrash at the end of the day from his learning? He says, Moide ani lefonecha Hashem Elokai, shesamti chelki biyosi Beis HaMedrash, v'lo samta chelki miyoshvei kronos. I thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu for putting my chelik, my portion, amongst those who are learning the Torah and not busy with futile things. Sha'ani mashkim v'hei mashkim. We both get up in the morning early. Ani mashkim divrei Torah v'hei mashkim dvarim b'telim. I am getting up early to learn HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Torah, and they're getting up early for idle chatter. Ani omel v'heim amelim. We both toil. Ani omel mekabel schar, v'heim ameli ve'inam kablim schar. I toil and I get reward for the toil. The actual toil itself gives me reward, even without the necessary results. But when they toil, whatever they're doing, it's not the toiling that gives them their reward, but rather the end result alone that gives them the reward. Ani rotz v'heim rotzim. I run and they run. Ani rotz l'chai ha'olam haba v'heim rotzim lever shachas. I run to the next world, olam haba, and they're running to Gehenna. What are we adding over here? We just said that I am omel v'heim amelim. I get schar and they don't get schar. So what are we adding now by saying I'm running to olam haba? And the answer is because I am cognizant that I'm only here in this world for a certain period of time, and therefore I'm running towards Olam Haba. I'm preparing myself for that event of leaving this world so I can go to Olam Haba, whereas they are deceiving themselves and concealing the truth from themselves that indeed they're going to leave this world sometime before it's too late. Then they realize, and then that's it. Tonu Rabbanon, the Gemara brings a brisa. Keshechala Rabbi Eliezer nichnasu talmidav levakroi. When Eliezer Hagadol was on his deathbed, his great talmidim, big talmidei chachamim, including Rabbi Akiva, great tanoim, they came to visit him. Amruloi, they said to him before his passing, Rabbeinu, lamdeinu orchos chayim v'nizke bohen l'chayo ha'olam haba. Teach us the ways of life, so we can be successful and we can be zoiche to live in the next world, olam haba, which is the tachlis. Omar lehem, he said to them, Hizharu b'chvoid chavereichem. First of all, he said, be careful in the kavod of your fellow men. Hizharu from the word zoihar. You should illuminate your minds to the other people that you are coming in contact with, and therefore be careful with their kavod. Don't mevatel them, chalila. Number 2, umanu b'neichem ben ha'egoyon v'hoishivum ben birkei talmidei chacham. Number 2, you should prevent your children from learning chumash without learning the proper perush with the Torah Ba'al Peh, and you should then cause them to then grow amongst the chachamim by raising them by the knees of the chachamim, even while they're young. Ukeshe'atim mispalim, and number 3, when you daven, De'u lifnei mi atem oimdim. Know before whom you are coming to daven, before whom you stand, the Melech, Malchei Amlochim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ubishvil kach nizku l'chayei ha'olam haba. And when you will do these three things, which is Keneged Torah, Avodah, and Gemilus Chasodim, which were the whole world was created in order to then fulfill these three things, and these are three details of these three things, these are three pathways in life, then you'll be Zoichet to live in the next world in Olam Haba. Says the Gemara, bringing another Maisa. Ukishechol Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, nichnasu talmido levakroi. When the great Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai was on his deathbed, his great students came to visit him. Kevan shero oisam hitchil livkois. When he saw his talmidim entering, he began to cry. Omru loy talmidov. His students turned to him and said, Ner Yisrael, Amud Hayemini Patish HaChazak V'meima Ato Boiche. They called him Ner Yisrael, the one whose light illuminates everybody's eyes in Klal Yisrael with the Torah that he teaches. Amud Hayemini, your strength, the right hand strength, that you matzil, that you save Klal Yisrael and rescue Klal Yisrael from all dangers. Patish HaChazak, the great hammer who causes the splinters of halacha to then go amongst all of Klal Yisrael to learn those halachos. Why are you crying? Omar lahem, he said the following. Ilu lefnei melech bosar vadom hayu malichim oisi shehayom kanu mochar bakever. If they would take me before a king of flesh and blood, who's going to then only live temporarily, she'im koyes alai ein ka'asar ka'as oilam, v'im oisreini ein usreini iser oilam, who if he gets angry at me, his anger is not forever. And if he would then cause me to be imprisoned, the imprisonment is also not forever. V'im miseini ein misosa misas oilam, and even if he kills me, the killing, the death, is only temporarily. It's not forever. It's only my body. And I can still appease him with words. And I can give him shoichad. I can give him money. And still I would cry. But now that they are bringing me before the King of all Kings, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shu Chai V'Kayim Lo Olam, Ula Olmei Olamim, who lives forever and ever. She'im Koyes Alai Kaiser Kaas Olam. If he gets angry at me, his anger is forever. V'im Osreini Isura Isura Olam. And if he imprisons me in prison, it's also forever. It's Netzach. V'im Meseini Misoso Misas Oilam, and that also, if he causes me to die, that means that my neshama for somehow will not live forever. Then it'll also be benetzach. Ve'eni yochel lefaiso b'dvorim, and I cannot appease him with words. V'lo l'shachta b'moan, and I cannot bribe him with money. V'lo od ela sheyesh lefonai shnei drochim. I only have two pathways in life before me. Achas shel Gan Eden v'achas shel Gehinnom. One's leading towards Gan Eden, while the other one leaves the opposite direction. And I shouldn't cry. Amruloi, his students, great men, they turned to their Rebbe and they said, Rabbeinu, Barcheinu, give us a blessing, give us a bracha. Omar lehem, he turns to his Talmidim with the following bracha. Yehi ratzon shetehei moira shomayim aleichem Kimara Bosar Vadom. You should have the same Mara Shamayim as you have Mara, the fear of a person of flesh and blood. Ask the Talmidim, Amru Loi Talmidov, Ad Kan. That's the bracha. That's it. The amount of Mara Shamayim should be the amount of Mara that we have from Bosar Vadom. Omar Lehem, he said to them, Ulavai. Halavai, you should have the same yira from HaKadosh Baruch Hu as you do from other people. If you did, you'll be prevented from doing many wrong things. Teidu, I'll give you a proof. Kishe adam oiver aveira, if a person does the wrong thing, Oimer, he says, Shelo yar'eni adam mishas yaradim adam, that a person should not see me. A person's careful to make sure that when he does something wrong, nobody sees him. He does it behind closed doors, when there's no cameras, or when there's no microphone, or whatever it is. There's no policeman looking at him. So halavai, a person should feel the same way behind closed doors. That Hakadosh Baruch Hu is looking at him, and when there's no red light or whatever it is that he's doing dangerously, that could be something against the Ratzon of Hashem, that he has the same fear of Hakadosh Baruch Hu. B'shas pitirosoi, at the time of his death, Omar lahem, he said to his Talmidim, Penu kelim b'nei atuma, remove the kelim in this room because of the tuma, because tumas hames will be metamed the entire oihel, and therefore all of the kelim that will be here at the time of the petira, they will become tameh. Remove all of those kelim. Vehichinu kiseh lechizkiyahu melech Yehuda sheba, and prepare a seat for the king Chizkiyahu melech is going to come and melavim me. Now our Gemara brings another Mishnah. Until now we've been discussing the Tefillah of Shmona Esrei, 18 brachos. And indeed, those 18 brachos begin with 3 brachos in the beginning, which are brachos of Shvach. The middle brachos, which are 12, are brachos of Bakasha. And the last 3 brachos of Hoidah. Subsequently, in Yavna, the Gemara will tell us that they added an entirely new bracha to add 13 brachos as 13 bakashos, a complete summation of 19 brachos, which we still call the Shmona Esrei. So now, our Mishnah discusses when a person cannot daven that Shmona Esrei. Does he have to daven that Shmona Esrei? Or can he daven in a bridge type of version? Says the Mishnah, Rabbi Gamliel Oimer, B'kol yom vayom espalel odem Shmona Esrei, that a person must daven the entire Shmona Esrei brachos for his tefillah. Rabbi Yoshua Oimer me'ein Shmona Esrei. Rabbi Yoshua argues and says he can daven what's called me'ein Shmona Esrei. That can be explained as follows. Either it means that it's a bracha of all of the intermediate brachos, the 13 brachos in the middle, tchila v'soif. In other words, not saying the entire bracha, but rather just the beginning and the end. For example, Ata choynein la'odam das, Baruch ato Hashem choynein hadas. Hashivenu avinu l'sarasecho, Baruch ato Hashem haroitze b'seshuva, and so on. That's one way of explaining it. There's a second way of explaining it, that there's the first 3 brachos and the last 3 brachos, and the middle brachos have one long bracha. That's the bracha of Shomei Tefillah, but in that bracha contains a composite of all of the other brachos. But it concludes with one bracha, Baruch Ato Hashem Shomei Tefillah. So Rabbi Yeshua is of the opinion that a person can daven that's Me'ein Shmona Esrei. Rabbi Akiva Omer, it depends. Im Shegura Tefillah Befiv, if a person knows the Tefillah, since they didn't have Sidurim, so if he had the Tefillah Shmona Esrei, and he was able to say it Baal Peh, by heart, and it was something that flowed, he was able to say the words properly, then Mispala Shmona Esrei, then he should daven all the Shmona Esrei brachos. V'im lav me'ein Shmona Esrei. But if not, then he can daven this me'ein Shmona Esrei. Our Mishnah continues. Rabbi Eliezer Oimer, if a person davens, he says, then he should daven in a way that's going to be derech tachanunim. However, he says, Rabbi Eliezer Oimer, ha'oiset tfiloso keva, ain't tfiloso tachanunim. If a person davens, and he does so, which is a tfiloso keva, which means that he's davening like it's only an obligation that he's trying to rid himself of. So it's true he will be yotzei his tefillah, but it won't be motzi chen be'enei Hashem. It won't bring tachanunim before HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Rabbi Yoshua Oimer, ha'holech b'makom sakana, if a person is traveling in a place of danger, and therefore he doesn't have the yishuv adas or the time to daven properly, then he should daven mispalo tefillah kitzara. He davens a short tefillah. What is the tefillah he says? He says, Hosheya Hashem es amcho esheris Yisrael, bekol parshas ha'ibur, yutzar kehem, lefonecha, baruch ato Hashem shomei tefillah. The words are saying as follows, Hosheya Hashem es amcho Yisrael. Hashem, save those people who are the remnants, the She'eris Yisrael, B'kol Parshas Ha'ibor, even during the time of their Averos, Yutzarkehem Lefonecha, may their needs be before you, Baruch Ato Hashem Shomei Tefillah. Now again, this is not the Shmona Esrei, this is a Tefillah Kitzara, in a time of Sakana. The nafkamina is that if he gets to a place where he can still daven, let's say it's later in the afternoon, and he didn't daven mincha, rather he just said the tefillah kitzara, so then of course he'll have to daven mincha again. Hayaroichev al hachamor, the Mishnah goes on to say, if a person is riding on his donkey and it's time to daven, what should he do? Yorad v'yispalil, he should go down from his donkey and daven. If he cannot go down because nobody's going to then hold his donkey and he won't be able to daven properly while coming down, then yachzir es ponov, then he should then stay on the donkey and he should turn his face towards Yerushalayim. And if he's not able to do that, then at least he should mechaven his lave that he's diving towards the Kodesh HaKadoshim in Yerushalayim. If he is traveling on a boat, or on a raft, he should also mechaven wherever he is while he's davening towards the Kodesh HaKadoshim in the Beis HaMikdash in Yerushalayim. Says the Gemara, Hani Yurches Kineged Mi. These 18 brachos that we're talking about in the Shmona Esrei, who do they correspond to? Omar Rabbi Hillel b'Rei Rav Shmuel bar Nachmeni Kineged Yurches Azkaros She'omar David Behavu LaHashem B'nei Elim. These are correspond to the 18 Shem of Hashem, the 18 times HaKadosh Baruch Hu's name is mentioned in the Kapitel Tehillim of Havu LaHashem B'nei Elim, which discusses the Avos and Gvuros and also Kedusha, which is corresponding to the first 3 brachos of the Shmona Esrei. Rav Yosef Omar Keneged Yudches Azkaros Shebekriya Shema. This corresponds to the 18 names, both Yudke, Vavke, and Elokim, that is mentioned in the Kriya Shema. Rav Tanchum, Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi, Keneged Shmona Esrei Chuliyos Shebeshidro. This corresponds to the 18 parts in a person's spine. Says the Gemara, V'Omer Rav Tanchum, Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi, once he said that the corresponding 18 brachos correspond to the 18 parts of the shidra of the spine, therefore he explains now when a person davens and he bows down in the beginning of the Shmona Esrei, at the end of the Shmona Esrei, he should bow down in a way that the spine, those parts of the spine, so then they protrude out when he bows down. Ula Omar, Ula says, so that when a person bows down, his heart is opposite the coin on the floor that he can see now on the floor. That's how he bows down, called an Iser. Rabbi Chanina Omar Kivan Sheni'ana Roishoi, since he is moving his head, bowing down his head, Shuv Eino Tzorich, he doesn't have to do more than that. Omar Rava qualifies that, and he says, when is that true? Fu de mitzar nafshe u'machaze keman dekara. He's talking about somebody who's an elderly person or somebody who's sick, and he's not able to bow down properly. Then he shows as if he wants to bow down, but he's in pain, and therefore he cannot do more than bending his head. Says the Gemara, the following question, Hey Hani Tamni, sorry, are these 18 brachos? Shmona Asrei brachos, 18 brachos? Teshasrei Havian, there are 19 brachos. There are 3 in the beginning, 3 at the end, and there are 13 brachos, bakoshos in the middle. Om Rabbi Levi, Birkas Hamini, B'Yavne Tiknua. They added the 19th bracha subsequently in Yavna against the minim. And that's the bracha v'lamalshim al tihi sikvo. Says the Gemara, Kenege mi tiknua, as the 19th, this additional bracha, what is that corresponding to? We just said 18 brachas correspond to the various things. But the 19th, what does that correspond to? Says the Gemara, Amar Levi, Rabbi Hillel, Rabbi Shmuel. Bar Nachmani, the first opinion that we said before, that it corresponds to the 18 times Hashem's name is mentioned in the Havu LaHashem B'nei Elim, is Keneged Kel HaKavod Hirim, the name of Hashem Kel, that's mentioned in that capital Tehillim. L'Rav Yosef Keneged Echad Sheb'Kriyas Shema. That corresponds to the word Echad. They shouldn't say Acher, the meaning, but rather Echad. Hashem is one and the only one. That corresponds to the 19th bracha Keneged the minim. The Rabbi Tanchum, who said it's talking about the corresponding to the 18 parts of the shidra of the spine. Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi Keneged Chulya Ketana Shebeshidra. It corresponds to the 19th. There's a small part of the shidra in the back that it corresponds the 19th bracha to.